we got our very own Laredo Elvis in the house.
How's it going, man? How y'all
Yes,
doing, man? He's in the
yeah.
building. He's in the building. Well, he's always in the
Yeah,
building, man.
awesome. And we have his sister Kelsey from owner of Kelsey Creations.
Hi everyone. Hi.
Yes, awesome, awesome, man. We're very happy to have you guys on the
Thank you so
show.
much.
Yes, we've been following you guys. I mean, Elvis, I've known you for a while now. Since back in the day, I know you know my cousin Raul. You worked with him, so I've seen you in and out. So I always followed you, and then I also, since I followed him, I was able to see your beginning of when you started the creations and all that, and how you guys are hustling that. So it's amazing to have you guys on. I mean, me and Miguel, we always want to do passion driven stuff.
Yeah.
People that go against the grain, they don't do their same robotic system of life where they just accept or react to everything, accept everything as it goes. You guys are definitely doing that right now, going against the grain, doing what you love to do. So we want to know more about that. I want to start with this question, and I had it for a while, and I'll start with you. Why Elvis?
Oh man, that's a very good question, man. That's a very good question. Well, first of all, I want to go ahead and start off, by thank you, thank you, Avi, and thank you, Miguel, for having me here. And the flex, put on the flex, man.
Flex, baby,
Sure.
yeah.
Man, and why Elvis, man. Well, I want to go ahead and start off. I've been a big Elvis fan since I was 7 years old. Since I was 7 years old, my daddy, may he rest in peace, dad. He introduced me, to the oldies like the Temptations, the Supremes. I'm talking about real oldies,
Good
man. I
music,
mean,
yeah.
all music is great. I love it. But I remember hearing this song on the radio called Jailhouse Rock. And during that time, my dad, he would have the radio, full blast, in the truck,
Jamming.
and one time, that song came out, it was like one through party in the county jail. And I was like, Daddy, like who's singing that? Like who's that? And he's like, Elvis. I'm like, Elvis who? And then I'm like, what? Like, what's his last name? And he's like, Elvis Presley, and then from then on, like I was like, jamming like to the song, and I wanted to study more about him. So I got to study more about him, the way his personality, the way he was with his fans, his other songs, like Teddy Bear, like oh baby, let me be your loving teddy bear, and I like what inspired me, of Elvis is his generosity, the way he was with his fans, the way he was with the public. He was very generous. He was a generous man. And then also, the way he would move, the way he would shake, the way he would dance, on stage and all. And that's what got me, to be an Elvis fan. But I mean, it was the thing is that it's a different kind of music, it's
Yeah.
it's something that gets to you, and it has a meaning, it has a feeling to it.
Yeah, it's feel good music, right? Like it makes you feel good, makes you get up and react and go up.
I
I mean,
mean,
that gets me excited when I hear the type of music you don't hear that often no more, right?
To be honest with you now, well, thankfully, on the radio, we're hearing it, but like you said, it's not as often, but we do hear it, but it's like I say, it's one of a kind, and Elvis was a one of a kind man, and that's what
Yes.
got me to be, to be a big Elvis fan. And I remember, during those times I said, like, you know what? Like, I would like to one day to keep his memory alive. I would like, to keep his music alive, especially here, in Laredo or any other place, around the US, around the country, to Elvis to always keep living, in other words, So
Okay, so that's what got you from being a fan
Mm.
to being an impersonator, right? Like being able to like keep his memory alive, right?
being honest with you, and that's a very good question, Avi. And I already have 12 years, paying tribute to my idol, to Elvis. My first performance, was at LBG talent show when I was a sophomore at Lyndon B. Johnson High School, and I graduated in 2012. And I remember they had a talent show at the time, and the thing is that there's behind the scenes to this. Like I was like super nervous. I was like, should I join or should I not join? I remember during that time we were going through, difficult times. It was a difficult time for us, and but then again, I was like, I want to bring more happiness. I want to do something different. I want to live my dream now, because my dream was always to keep his memory alive.
Oh,
And so the talent show, came around. I remember my mom, thanks to my mom, that she would design my outfits at the time. But now she has a problem with her eyes, so she no longer does it, right? And but I remember, she was a designer. She designed my very first outfit, which was an eagle outfit. It was an eagle outfit. I already had it there. It was a Halloween outfit, but then again, we added more to it,
Yeah. Give it some
And
spaz, right? Yeah. Talent show. That's
you know,
amazing.
and I remember, so the talent show, I was like, okay, I'll go for it, and and I remember, like, I was stepping on that stage, but behind the scenes, I would, use a background of Elvis. I would follow Elvis. I would sing, but then again, Elvis would be singing, right? And I remember on that talent show, I sang "Suspicious Minds," the one that goes, "We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby." And so from then, my very first public appearance, was at Sister Cities Festival, at the Sister Cities Festival that they have every year, right? And during that time, former Mayor Raul Salinas, thanks to him and to Mr. Guevara at the time, they put me for 3 days to perform, and
Was that result of the talent show? Like, did you see the video there, or what was that? Or was the talent show like the hit in the brain, like, oh, I want to keep doing this? Is that what it is, or how'd you get that first?
That's a very good question. To be honest, I remember my daddy. He spoke. Well, my daddy and my mom. They spoke. They spoke with Mayor Salinas and Mr. Guevara at the time, and they decided to give me the opportunity. They were looking for performers, and they wanted to see what I got. In other words, so that was already arranged. To be honest, after the talent
Okay.
show.
Oh,
So I remember it was
momentum, right?
Hell yeah.
it was 3 days in a row. That's what I loved it. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic night. Those were fantastic days because I remember it was 3 days in a row, and I remember I got to perform privately. For the vendors at the time, right? And also for everybody important. I was nervous. I was like, man, like Mayor Salinas is here. Mr. Guevara is here. All the city council
Yeah.
here. Like, well, I'm like, what's going on here?
And how old are you at this time?
28 years old.
28.
Yeah.
At this time, when this is all happening, Sister Cities Festival, that's 28 years old.
Well, when the Sister Sheet I was 16 at the
Oh,
time.
you were 16.
Yeah, I was 16 at the time.
What age did you start off doing the talent show and all that? How old were you?
16, yeah. I
Wow,
was
it's the
16.
same year.
Right there, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then from then on, I decided, I was like, you know what? I talked to my parents, I was like, you know what? I want to go share my talent, with the adult daycare centers at the
Okay.
senior homes. I want to bring them happiness, I want to bring them, to let them know that they're not alone,
Yeah.
and so I started off here at Region Care Center. I started off, I remember we knocked on the door, right? And like they say, knock on doors, right?
Yeah.
And I spoke with the coordinator there, and she's like, yeah, I'll give you the opportunity. So I remember we had those, rinky-dink, those small speakers, and I remember we had, the sound system, mini sound system, it was, something small, to start off, right? And for sure enough, like, I was like performing, I was performing, like, and there was another outfit that my mother, she designed for me at the time. I remember it was an Elvis, but it was all pictures of Elvis cape, it was his, and I had different pairs of glasses, it was.
So your mom's having fun too, right? You're designing all your clothes and stuff like that. Wow, that's awesome.
So let me ask you: did you go room by room to all the patients' rooms, or did you go like to the big living area? Like, what was that experience like?
They have like a mini auditorium.
Okay.
It was like a cafeteria. In other
Okay.
words, it was a cafeteria.
What was the response? What was your reactions?
It was very nice. They really loved it.
I
And
can
to this day, they tell me, I get a lot of fans. They tell me, like in Spanish, like, oh, like muchas gracias por venir. Like, me gusta tu voz and me gusta como cantas. They would tell me, I love the way you sing. I love the way. It brings back. I even had a gentleman that told me, he's like, you took me back to my time.
Yeah.
I was like,
Do they get emotional? Like,
Yeah.
a lot. You
Some-
get that a lot.
some of them do. I remember when I had a performance at Region Care, there was a lady, she came up to me, she started hugging me, and she was like, "Hi, Elvis," and then she was crying. I was like, "Don't cry, ma'am. Like, I'm here. I'm in the building. I'm not going anywhere."
there you go. Yeah, that's awesome. That's
So,
awesome.
so you're 16 when you started this. Where were you in this time when he's doing this? What are you doing, Kelsey?
I'm At this time,
Mhm.
during that time,
Yeah, during that time.
I'm actually still a little. I'm a kid,
Oh,
so
yeah.
So
So
yeah,
yes,
a big difference. How old are you right now?
I'm 18.
So then you were very little when he was going that. So at what age did you start the Kelsey Creations?
Okay, so this is gonna go back in time per se.
Mhm.
So I'm around 11 or 12.
Okay.
I'm looking through YouTube and just browsing, as a kid does on YouTube. And I see a video of crochet. And so I'm like, wow, that's a new word. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So I click on it and it's a lady, she's explaining a hook and some yarn. And she's like, this is how you do it and stuff, going through the steps. And I'm like, oh, that seems interesting. I want to try that.
Yeah.
So from then on, it was just a whole new experience for me per se. But at first, I had difficulty. Of course, I mean, crocheting.
Yeah.
It's like it's not similar to knitting, but it's like I call it the cousin of knitting.
Hmm.
So they're related, but there's differences, obviously.
It sounds difficult. Like I
Yeah.
can imagine.
Yeah, just knitting and stuff and all that. I mean, so what's the main difference of knitting between crochet?
Okay, so knitting is with two needles, but they're like pointy instead of
Mhm.
a hook where it's bent. Like
Okay.
it's has a arch per se.
Mhm.
Okay, so
So
that changes the way you're able to.
yeah,
Okay, that's amazing. And then you have that in your blood, right? Because your mom designs as well. So
true,
it's
that's
kind of like, man. So you also have the vision,
Yeah.
yeah,
right? Because when you're going to be a designer and a creator, you're going to have the vision before you create anything.
yeah.
So yes,
So I during middle school, I actually wanted to be a fashion designer. Actually, so
awesome.
throughout sixth grade and eighth grade, I was like, I'm gonna be that. That's what I'm gonna be. That's my
Yeah.
passion. Until reality started coming in, and it's like, how are you gonna, make that? Um,
Happen. Yep.
yeah, how
Yeah.
are you gonna like? I've heard from people that are like, no, it's not gonna pay well and
Yeah.
stuff. So that dream kind of dwindled per se.
Mhm.
So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just
Do something else.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll change my
Mhm.
career path and whatnot.
Yes.
But oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. And I'm saying that happens a lot. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I could tell you how many times I've had an idea and people are like, oh, that's not gonna make money. Oh, that's not gonna be good for you. But I'll tell you something, and I just posted recently is like we have to stop uh wanting people to accept our goals, right? Not everyone's gonna understand your vision, right?
Exactly.
Because like people will say, oh, there's no money in it. But in reality, I mean,
Mhm.
you become a good fashion designer, there's a lot of money in there, and then you do what you love to do, right? And
And
you're still very young. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, so
I'm sure Elvis, you got some hate. I'm pretty sure you got some negativity coming up as well.
I remember, I remember bumped into a gentleman. This was a while back. He would tell me, he would be like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing on, like, what are you doing performing and this and that? Like you don't sing good or this and like
yeah, of
exactly.
course, yeah.
I remember I gotten, like you said, some hatred,
Yeah.
during that time, or they would make fun of my hair, like behind the scenes. I would get like, because I have to be honest, I have my hair. My mom is the one that helps me. Like you said, she's a designer.
Mhm.
She helps me. She combs my hair and on this and that. I will get told like, oh, you don't have that much hair. This
Yeah.
exactly, or no, like that doesn't look like Elvis. That's not the Elvis style. Or why they're telling you Elvis exactly, or etc. You get
Yeah,
me?
it
But
keeps going.
as professionally, I would tell them, well, it's what I do, it's what I love. I love it. I wouldn't even get told. I was even told many times, you're obsessed with Elvis, you're obsessed with him. And in reality, well, I mean, I just love it. I
So,
love. He's my idol.
yeah,
I look
there
up
you
to
go.
him. But like I mentioned to you all, I look up to him because he was a very generous man. He was a one of a kind person. And he loved his fans just like how I do. To the public to give back.
Exactly.
To keep his memory. So like it's like I always tell Kelsey. Like when my mom always tell Kelsey. The hatred is always there. It's never gonna go away. But all you can do is just say, okay, well, thank you so much for your feedback. Appreciate it.
And did it
Exactly.
stop you when they told you that, or you kept going?
No, thankfully I haven't gotten any criticism from
Okay. Okay.
crocheting, but I've learned from since the beginning that I started crocheting, I was like, there's gonna be criticism in the world. People are not gonna like what I do, and they're probably gonna criticize like, oh, I can make that or I can make that myself or
Yeah.
whatnot. But it's more so I put the time and effort into what I create. It's a lot of passion that goes into it. I love what I do. So from criticism, I have tough skin, so I'm like, it's okay if they ever tell me something, I'll just be like, thank you
Mhm.
and keep it moving because I'm
Yes.
someone that's how do I put it per se? That's just how the world is.
Yeah.
I mean, people are not gonna like what you do, and that's just the reality of it
Yeah.
per se.
So what are some of the things that you have done, like items?
So I cater to everyone per se.
Okay.
I crochet from dresses, skirts, sweaters, cardigans, tops,
Scrunchies.
Oh, a little bit of
scrun-
everything.
scrunchies for the hair because I know that was very trendy
Yeah.
on TikTok and
Hmm.
the whole visco girl thing. So I cater to that as well. Also for guys, sweaters, hoodies, beanies, bucket
Scarves.
hats,
Wow.
scarves, yeah, everything per
And
se.
the
Awesome.
wheel covering
Oh
the
yeah,
the wheel for
Covers.
recently the one
Wool covers.
yes.
yeah wheel cover yeah.
Oh yeah, those are big as well, right? Especially when Laredo gets real hot. Yes, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And so you're creating, and then what got you into starting your boutique? Like actually launching it off, kicking it off.
So, during the pandemic, when everything was going
Mhm.
on, COVID was still raging on. Obviously, we were at home, so I was like, you know what? I have my materials there since because I stopped crocheting for a long period of time because, of course, school, and then I kind of was like, I was kind of stubborn, and I was like, I really can't get it, so I left it for a bit until 2020 came around, and I was like, you know what? I really don't have anything else to do, so might as well choose a video, pick up a hook, some yarn, and then start crocheting. So the first item that I made was a scarf, actually. So that's how I started from like scarves to going to smaller things to bigger things. And by the end of the year, I had a whole pile of items.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? What am I gonna,
Yeah.
What am I gonna do with these? Right? Yeah.
yeah, like, what am I gonna do with these?
Mhm.
And so I was like, you know what? Let me try something different and open up my small business. So I had a friend make my logo, which isn't the one that I have right now. It's a new updated version, but she made that one as well. And I'm like, yeah, I really want this and this, that, and the third. And it's an eye per se because in middle school I loved drawing eyes, just like on my paper, like random doodling.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? And for me, I love that trippy aesthetic where it's like the drops falling down, and
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I like this, the eye, and then the drops in the bottom. Can you like do something for me? And she's like, yeah, like what colors do you have in mind?
Mhm.
And for me, I'm like, I'm obsessed with pink. I love pink, and that's been my favorite color since since the beginning per se. So I was like, you know what, something with hot pink, and I know it's gonna grab people's
Yeah.
attention. Like those bright colors will immediately catch your eye, and so that's what I was like. You know what, give me something pink. And she's like, okay. And she like a couple of weeks later, she's like, I got you, and she showed it to me, and I was like, I love it. So
Wow, she brought your vision to life, right? That's
yeah,
amazing.
and for me, I'm very specific on what I want. So I
Mhm.
told her, I was like, here are the things that I want. Like we can change some things up, we're going collaborating back and forth. So
Awesome.
she shows me the product. I love it. And from then on, I was like, I tell my mom and my family, I'm like, this is what I want to
Mhm.
do. And they're very supportive and they're very like, yeah, we have your back. And like whatever you do, we'll support it.
And is
So
this before COVID or after or during?
during,
During COVID. And I feel like a lot of people did that during COVID. They were out of work, so they had to resort to do stuff at home. So that's very good that you it was a good time for you to find what you love and you're still doing it. And to have the support of your family, that's a really, really big plus.
It is. It
You know, we
is.
talked to a lot of
Good
people.
support system is
Yeah.
always good.
Mm-hmm.
Any difficulties that you guys faced during COVID specifically? I know Elvis. I can imagine you couldn't go to the region care centers and any of that because of COVID. Anything else that might have kind of put a pause on you guys?
personally, well, I'll go first and then
Go
you'll
ahead. Mhm.
during the pandemic, when everything was still going on during 2020, I opened up my small business
Mhm.
October per se. So it's going to be like a 2 year anniversary now
Oh
coming
wow.
up.
Oh,
So
awesome.
that's really great. But after that, um, next year, 2021, January 2nd was when our dad passed. So it was a very tremendously
Yeah.
difficult time for us. And that really put a pause on
Everything.
everything because it was like so unexpected. Like during those 2 weeks, he was gone, and it was like,
Mhm.
having to say goodbye through a tablet, and it's
Yeah.
like we can't be there with him.
Mhm.
So that was a very challenging time, and thankfully crochet has been a also a therapy for
Therapy.
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's when I started like distracting myself
Mhm.
and like also taking that self-care, but also putting my time into something that I love. And
Yeah.
so
Yes, yes, and fulfilling as well because you're creating new things. Everything. I mean, I can only imagine how fulfilling it is, and I can only imagine how difficult that was. I mean, so many people that couldn't get that closure during that time. It's I mean I can only imagine how difficult that is,
No, it was
and it's ground shaking almost. I'm certain for you as well, Elvis, right?
no,
Yeah.
it was very hard, and like you said, Miguel, I mean, it's during that time, 2020, between 2020 and 2021, like when everything was like shutting down due to the COVID pandemic, it was also hard for us, singers, and to all the singers out there as well. I mean, I had to do home at home, videos, at home performances,
Wow.
because I was scared. To be honest, I was scared because I was like, man, the public is gonna forget about me. Like who can forget, Laredo's Elvis, but you never know. I mean, I have these thoughts in my mind. I'm like, oh man, I gotta keep myself going. I would do those Facebook chats. I would
Oh,
go Facebook Live.
Yeah, you did live performance. I remember that. Yeah, I was like, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'd like to
Yeah.
keep myself going, and I understand, like, it's not just only us that was going through,
Hmm.
but like mostly everybody, to keep everybody, happy, smiling. So I would go on Facebook Live and, do these at home performances or at home singing, but then again, it was not the same. I missed my public,
Yeah.
and I also, I missed working as well, both, but mostly my I miss seeing my fans, like they need me. Like, what am I doing here? I would even be like, Elvis, I'm sorry, man. Like, hey, man, I apologize. Like, I don't like, I can't go on tour. I can't go out and perform because of COVID right now. Which I'm pretty sure I can hear him a little bit. Don't worry, man. Like, I understand you. Don't
Yeah.
hang in there, hang in there.
yeah.
I would hear him, and but it's like what my sister Kelsey was saying. One of the it was like a crisis, for me, because I was getting tons of phone calls, from my family, of course, letting me know, like, hey, your father's in the hospital, this and that, COVID, and I was like, no, like, this is not real. To be honest, I was like, this is not real, to me, because I was like focusing on work, because the thing is that, like I said, it was my dream to keep, my idol's memory alive, but also, to help out, my mom and my sister, as well, to keep on moving, because my parents were divorced, they're divorced and all, but like I said, it's, during that time I was getting phone calls, like, hey, your father, this and that. I would talk to my mom, and then my mom would keep in touch with him. My mom did keep in touch with him at the time at the hospital, through phone, and but like what my sister Kelsey was saying, it was all, fast.
Yes.
He passed until I got that phone call. It was really hard for me. It was, like I said, it was hard because, like, behind the scenes, Avi and Miguel, we had our misunderstanding. My dad and I, at the last time I spoke with him, and it's because, like I said, it's like I said, my parents were divorced, and and I had him, like, I just, like, you, at some point you got tired, you get tired, and you help, and you'll do anything, like, you don't want to see your parents, going through this and that, and I remember just telling my father, I'll be like, hey, come on, man, like, and that was the last time I saw him, and I have plans meeting up with him, and during the holidays, that's why the holidays get to me, I used to love Christmas, I used to love Thanksgiving, and I still do, and I have to, I can't be, I can't be grumpy,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
and and like, when the holidays come around, and like I was gonna tell you all that during the holidays, I had plans to meet up with him. I had plans to see him. I had plans, I had plans to call him, like, hey, you know what, you want to meet up for Christmas, New Year's, this and that. And I didn't get that opportunity. I didn't get the opportunity to do that. And to be honest, it's something that I have here. It's something that I know I made peace with him. I've already made peace with him, and I know, and I know for a fact I always dream about him. I think about him all the time. And
I'm sure
it,
when you're performing, you feel that feeling. You have them on your mind, so that gives you a little extra push, right?
that and also on my introductions, he used to do my introductions.
Oh,
He used to introduce me in the performances, and
wow.
oh man, it's And I for sure enough, like recently, because my brother Joseph, he's the one that creates my introductions. He's the one
Okay.
that edits and all that.
Okay.
He's really awesome at that. And I give him credit in that, right? And recently he did one, and I wanted, because like I said, I have 12 years. I wanted to celebrate 12 years performing. And he made me one, with all my dad's, intros, because all my intros have my dad's. But then again, like, there's some intros that he says in segundos, this and that, and I wanted some of that. So it's like you said, we get, like, it's here, but then again, I hear him, in the intros. It's like it. And recently, what I've been wanting to do, because I don't have it at the moment, I've been wanting to place the mic and the mic stand right there, and when the intro's playing, just imagine,
Yeah.
imagine him,
Yeah.
imagine him there. But then again, thankfully, thank God, and thanks to the support, and also to my mother as well, right? For supporting us. We were able to, you know, um, to keep on going, to move forward, to be strong. In other words,
Yes.
to be honest, because to be honest, it was, like I said, it was really hard. It's still hard to this day. It's been a year, right? But thankfully, like I said, I have the support from everybody. I have the support, especially from my mom. For helping us, to keep us going. And but thankfully, like I said, we were able to get through that.
Yeah. No, I can only imagine how hard and difficult that is. And as you said, it's been a year. It's been a fast year. I mean, a lot of people that gone through this. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just so fast. Like
Yeah.
probably the fastest years
Yeah.
we've ever had, and it's horrible. And in the
Mhm.
sense that some people were not able to really reflect or speak about it because we're still in that constant something's going on, something's going on. So we're just reacting constantly to
Mhm.
something going on. We don't really sit back and reflect. Hey, everything that's happened, because I'm pretty sure everyone has similar stories right now, and they just get stuck into work. They just get stuck into a zone, and they
Of
just
course.
block everything out. And it's so easy to just, block something out and just, it's. I think speaking about it's more therapeutic. In other words, that you guys are able to speak about it and
Yes.
move forward, and then
Exactly.
put it in your crafts,
Mhm.
right? Because from you're saying, like, if your brother's editing your intros, I mean, your whole
Yeah.
family's very supporting, very
Oh
interactive.
yeah.
I've seen your brother at your boutique as well, right? And that's must be amazing too, having him over and he goes live and all that. I mean, that support system is amazing, especially between family,
Yeah.
because not everybody has that. Very few people have that actually that I've seen. So that's amazing to see you guys do that.
It's because, to be honest, Avi Miguel, it's I enjoy performing, I enjoy singing, but I also, is like you said, I'm a very talkative person. My dream also, to behind the scenes, was also radio. I've always been wanted to try radio.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
got the voice for it.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I love radio. I love, like I said, I'm very talkative. I love to speak, and especially because my dream, I remember I would play around, behind. And when I was little, I would play around. I'll have like a mini radio station. I would be speaking, I would be recording myself, and I would be like, "Oh, okay, you're listening to, this and that," and I would play an oldie. I would play Elvis, and I've gotten several opportunities, in the past, to do so, but like radio's always in me. I always I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. And I wanted to do that, with Kelsey. I wanted to do that with we would do these Facebook lives. Like, I would tell her, like, we're going live, we're going live. Like, okay, we're here, we're broadcasting live, we're broadcasting live at the outlet. So we're broadcasting live at the pop-up shops, we're here live, come on down, everybody, come on down. It's I think it's something that my father would have want me to do, because, like I said, he's the one that did the introductions.
Yeah.
So I'm like, like, I would tell him, like, you know what, Daddy, I'm gonna do behind the scenes. I'm gonna do this for Kelsey. I'm pretty sure you would have want to do it. Now I'm gonna do it for her.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always, like, I've always enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed, doing these commercials, and for everybody.
Can I say a little bit about how I met you?
You could go for it, man.
So I used to cash my check at Kmart
I remember.
every week, and I get paid weekly. So I used to go cash it at Kmart, and it was always Elvis that was there most of the time on the front desk. Well, yeah, I remember cashing my check there every week, and you were like making some crazy announcements, and everyone was so interactive, and they're like, "Oh wow, man, this guy like that's what he's made to do." I always thought that in my head.
It's
It was
good.
like,
To be honest, I apologize.
do you miss those days? I mean,
I miss it,
Yeah,
man.
right?
You know, it's
Yeah.
because to be honest, yes, I used to be a supervisor for Kmart for 4 years, and recently, yesterday, September 2nd was would have been it's 4 years, yeah, since 2018, and and the thing is that I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to do something different. You know, I wanted to bring the store, like the store Kmart is was one, it's a one of a kind store, to be honest. It's one of a kind because you'll find things there that you won't find like a Walmart or
Yeah.
etc. You know, like I even had a customer the other time, he would tell me, he's like, I miss the store, I miss buying my pair of jeans there. You know, you all have those one of a kind jeans. You know, well, yeah, I mean, we did. You know, and recently, like since they moved me to the front, they would tell me like, Elvis, you know what, since you perform and you sing, why don't you do announcements here? Like, why don't you try it out? It's like, okay, so I remember I would start off, good afternoon, Kmart shoppers, but then again, I would,
And your
get the
regular
Yeah,
hang of
that's
it.
too boring.
that
That's too
regular
boring
voice.
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I would be like, "Good afternoon, Kmart shoppers," or "Attention, Kmart shoppers," and when they brought back the blue lights, because I heard about the blue light specials, I remember my district manager at the time, she would be like, "Elvis, I want you to do the blue lights, I want you to announce garden department and this and that," and so you know what, let's go ahead and do something different. I'm like, okay, so at 5 o'clock, because they wanted for me to do it at 12 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and before my shift end, which was like what, maybe like 8 in the evening or something, and so I remember we at 12 o'clock we had. I would be like, "Good afternoon, Kmart shoppers. It's 12 o'clock. It's time for the blue light lunch hour." So it was a lunch hour of the blue light. I would have the blue light right there in front. It was super amazing. And that's what I miss retail. I miss it. Especially
Yeah.
doing those announcements. And I would people would tell me like, "Hey, like why every day? This and that." Well, it's like they say. You have sales, you have hours. You have hours, you have a paycheck. Simple as
Yeah.
that. And so I mean, I miss it. I enjoy it. And to think about it, I was like, man, like, where has the time gone? But until a friend of mine from another Kmart store, because we would keep in touch, he would tell me, he'll be like, Elvis, like, you know what? All good things have to come to an end. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's really true. I mean,
Yeah, that's very true. And
mm,
actually, I saw a post recently on your because you say where does the time go? I saw a post you recently put that you actually tried out for American Idol, right?
oh man,
When was that? How old were you then? I saw a picture. I know it was a while ago, right?
that's a very good question, my
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm glad you asked. So American Idol, man, this was back 12 years ago. I was 16 still.
Wow. So that's 16. That year 16 was like a rocket fire for you, bro.
It's because to be
Yeah.
honest, I remember my daddy. At the time we were parked. He loved to read the newspaper. And I remember we were all together, right? And he saw the clip. It said American Idol auditions in Austin. So everybody was there, right? My brother was there. I love those times. And my mom and my dad, they were like, "Well, you should try out. You should try out." And I was like, "Man, I don't know. Like, I don't know, to be honest." Like, I was like, "I don't know. I'm not sure." Like, I got nervous, right? And so for sure enough, I was like, "You know what? Let's do it. Let's go ahead and try out." So it was American Idol. So the auditions were held. It was very special because they were held during the Elvis week. Elvis week is usually from the
Oh,
12th
wow.
to the 17th. So my audition was on the 12th, I think, if I remember. And I remember I just signed up. We went to Austin. We signed out at the auditions were held at the Frank Irwin Center at the time, and from, like, I remember there was tons of people. It was a whole bunch of people, but thankfully I was able to sign. We were able to sign, right, to get an audition, right. So I remember they told us, well, you needed to be here the next day, at 2 o'clock in the morning, or the
Wow.
the doors open at 8 in the morning. They told me, but they need us there earlier. So I remember that time, I didn't get enough sleep. I was like nervous, on it, when I was trying to sleep, and my mom was like, you know what, go try to sleep. My dad was like, go ahead and try to sleep, and I was like, I can't. I can't. I was just there, just thinking. So yeah, the time came around, the alarm rang. I was like, you know what, let's get this going. So we were there in line at 2 o'clock in the morning at the Frank Irwin Center at the time. There was a whole bunch of people, you know. It was I met tons of nice, you know, a lot of great people, you know. I even met this girl from Memphis, you know. She was like, I'm from Memphis. I'm like, oh man, like, so I'm like, Elvis, is this a coincidence, man? Like, don't leave me, man, don't leave me, you know. So I remember, you know, we were there waiting in line. You know, they didn't open the doors of the arena until 8 o'clock in the morning. So we got inside. I remember, you know, we got the way top of the arena, right?
Mm.
So I was like this story that I was nervous, you know, and I was scared because I was like, you know, I don't like heights, you know, like, oh man, like to look down there, like, oh man, this is not me, man. So anyways, and I told my mom the behind the scenes, I was like, you know what, mom, I want to go, you know, I don't want to be here, you know, I don't want to be here. I'm hungry too, you know. Like, oh man, like,
Tired and hungry.
yeah. So I remember my mom got me some M&Ms. She got me a regular Coke, you know, to try to stay awake, you know, and for sure enough, 4:30 came around, right? And for sure enough, they were already telling us to go down. So I was like, okay. So and I chose there. It was only one person that one like only two persons to go in. So I chose my mom. You know, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, man. You know, and I chose my mom because well, I feel more comfortable. I'm very
Yes.
close to my mom.
Yes.
You know, to be honest. So and and I remember like, you know, we went together, right? And for sure enough, they separated us. Like, Mom, where are you going? Like, you know, it's because they told me to go over there. I'm like, okay, you know, may God bless me, you know. So from there, you know, I got to you know, they told me to go to the audition already. I got there. It was me, a couple of other guys. And you know, the guys were singing, you know, and for sure enough, I did see my mom. I don't know how she got there, but I saw her. She was right in front of me.
You
You
know, I was like,
know?
I want him to see me. That would be good. You have nerves. I'm
My
sure
da-
that also brought the nerves down. Like, mom's there.
Being honest, it did. Yes,
Yeah, of course.
thankfully.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you, Mom, for that. And so for sure enough, they started telling me, you know, to go ahead and sing. So I was like singing. I sang a song that's called "Follow That Dream" because it was one of my favorite songs because Elvis did movies and that was one of my favorite movies. Follow that dream, and then two, it's a meaning, you know, follow that dream, you know. So I started singing. I was like, I ain't gotta follow that dream wherever that dream may lead. I gotta follow that dream, find love I need, you know. And so for sure enough, they told me the judges told me, okay, stop. And they moved the guys to the front, and it looks like, and I see the guys that were laughing. You know, I was like, you know, like how we were talking about, you know, the hatred, you know, this and that, you know, and I saw them laughing because I was dancing and shaking, you know,
Like, giving your all. Yeah.
yeah, and exactly, and so they told me to go front, and I see those guys will go away. I was like, okay, and like, God bless you all, you know. So and they were telling me, so like, what's your name, son? I'm like, well, my name is Luis, you know, Luis Salazar Jr., you know, and he's like, where you from? I'm from Laredo, you know, I'm from Laredo. We come from South, and he's like, I like the way you sing. He's like, I like the way you snap your fingers, you know, and I like the way you dance, you know. I like your tone, I like your energy. And I was like, oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate it, man. You know, I appreciate it, you know. And he's like, you know what? We say yes, you pass the first round. You know, I was like, man,
Oh, that's awesome.
And the judges are not the celebrities, right? Or they're
at the time they weren't, not yet.
Okay.
You know, so they told us that we needed to stay in Austin for about a week.
dang.
You know, and I remember my daddy was like, man, like he opened up his wallet. You know, he would say like,
Yeah.
he would be like, oh man, like, you know what, how we gonna do this? You know, and
It was your idea.
so we stayed in Austin for a week. You know, like I said, we met a lot of nice people. We met a nice manager at the hotel, helped us out as well. You know, and it was during Elvis week. You know, Austin had an oldie station at the time. You know, they were playing Elvis 24/7. You know, due to his memory. You know, to keep his memory alive. It was during his anniversary of his passing. And also there was a club. Hopefully, it's still there at in Austin and 6th Street as well. You know, all Elvis. You know, and I even got to meet the owner, and he was like, whenever you're ready. He was like, whenever you're ready to perform. He's like, come on by, come and see me. I'll back you up. I'll help you out. You know, I got you. And I was like, you got it, sir. I was like, yes, sir. And so for sure enough, the second round came around. You know, second round was held at the Barton Creek Resort area there in Austin. Very nice area. You know, and I remember it was two auditions and one. for the second round. So I had to like this time everybody was able to go in. I was happy to see everybody. To be honest,
Kelsey, you're there.
Yes.
Oh wow.
she was
How,
small.
but you still remember though, right? A little bit.
Yeah, a
Like,
little
Part,
bit.
okay,
little
okay, okay.
bits and
Bits
pieces.
and pieces.
Yeah.
You don't even understand. American Idol was huge, but back in the day, it was like,
Yeah.
wow, it was everything. I mean, that's what everyone watched. It was like huge, 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 man. That's amazing. And
And for sure enough, so the second round came around, and the very nice area, like I said, and I remember they put me in this room, and I was like, oh man, I'm alone here, Until I see some other judges, they were like, okay, like where you from, like what's your name, Luis, how old are you, 16 at the time, and he's like, what a song are you gonna sing? I'm gonna sing "Follow That Dream" by Elvis, and they were like, go for it, you know what, go ahead and sing. So I started singing again, and for sure enough, they told me go ahead and go to the next room.
Wow.
All right, and I was like, man, like, I'm getting there, I'm getting there. So for sure enough, they put me in this big room with cameras, like more cameras than what we have here. And this time it's American Idol on the floor, and I was like, oh man, like this is getting serious here, like. And this time I see a whole bunch of judges right there. And I was like, man, like, oh man, I'm dead, man. Like this is, I'm doomed, I was like, oh man, And so for sure enough, they were asking me again, like, where you from? What's your name, right? And they told me, okay, go ahead and sing. And I'm like, okay. So I started singing. And during that time, American Idol had a theme song. It was from Carrie Underwood. It was Good Time, Cowboy Casanova. It was called Cowboy Casanova. It was a song that goes, Good Time, Cowboy Casanova. Na, na, na. I forgot the lyrics,
you said it pretty clear there, man.
And for sure enough, I stopped the song, right? And they asked me, behind the scenes, they were like, "Hey, okay, Louis, do you know the theme song to American Idol, Carrie Underwood, Cowboy Casanova?" And I paused, I was like man, like I know part of it. Like I told him, like I don't know part of it, sir, but I can sing you part of it. It was like Good Time, Cowboy Casanova, at the time, and they were like, okay, and they were all thinking about it, and I was like, oh man, like, come on, like Elvis, help me out here, man. And for sure enough, they all made an agreement. It's like, okay, you can go ahead and go to the third round.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so third round was held, I guess the same time as Kelsey, when she started in October, right? The audition, I still remember October the 12th. That was the final third round. This time it was serious. I got to meet Ryan Seacrest.
Wow.
I remember, he received all of us, and he was like, "So you like Elvis, huh?" I'm like, "Yes, sir, I sure do." And he's like, "Oh, how long you been doing this?" Well, I recently started, like I said, 12 years, right? And he's like, "Well, good luck to you, man." He's like, "Good luck to you." And he was a very nice guy, very nice gentleman, And I still remember there was some clips at the time, like when he was talking to my daddy, and he was like, and he asked him, "Was like, do you do Elvis too?" And I remember they put me in the room, right? I remember they locked us all in the room, but they were very strict. They didn't want to see logos, they didn't want to see cameras, nothing, which is understandable. I get them, right? And I remember they blocked all the windows and stuff, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Like, oh man,
I'm being kidnapped here.
So I remember I see Randy Jackson. They started introducing them, Steven Tyler and Jennifer Lopez coming in the room. They started introducing them, and I was like, man, and I was sitting right here, Alvin Miguel. I was sitting right here, and I see Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez right in front of me. Like Jennifer Lopez was right where you all at.
Wow.
To be honest, I was like amazing. She did stare. She stared, and I was like. And but it was so after that, that's when they started, doing the auditions. So when I got in there, I remember when they told me to go ahead, and Ryan Seacrest told me, he was like, good luck and go for it. And I was like, okay. So I got to see Randy Jackson, Steven Tyler, and Jennifer Lopez, right? They were there. And it was the actual show. It was live. It was recorded live. Yeah.
And you performed.
And so they started asking me. So Jennifer Lopez was the one that was asking me, so where are you from? And I was like, well, I'm from Laredo. And what's your name? Well, my name is Luis, and they were like, well, go for it, Luis. Go ahead and sing. So and for sure enough, I was singing and dancing, and until they told me, okay, go for it. Go ahead and stop. Right. So Steven Tyler and Jennifer Lopez, they were like, I like the way you sing. You know, Steven Tyler was mostly the one telling me, he's like, I like your energy. I like the way you snap your fingers. I like the way you dance, you know, and I like the way you sing. And Jennifer Lopez was also telling me the same thing. Randy Jackson, not so much, to be honest, you know, but I was getting more support
Yeah.
from Steven Tyler, you know, very awesome. You know, he was like, well, what do you do? Do you sing? Do you perform? I'm like, yeah, I'm a performer. You know, I'm a local performer. I perform, you know, for, you know, all the events, you know, this and that, and perform at adult daycare centers and talent shows, right, at the time, right? And he was like, well, keep on living your dream. He's like, I support you. He's like, you have our support. He's like, keep on going. Like, don't give up. And Jennifer Lopez told me the same thing. It's like, yeah, they keep on going, you know. And they told me, and they were like, I'm sorry, but you know, try it for the next season. Try it out for the next season, but you did real good, you know. And Riley Jackson's told me the same thing. So I was like disappointed at the time because I had all the support and I still do, right? You know, like I said, you know, Mayor Salinas, Raul Salinas, you know, they have the support and everybody, you know, and my and OBJ as well, you know, and for sure enough, like when I after the audition, I received a call from the mayor. You know, it was like he called me. It was like, so how do you go? Like,
Wow,
I was like,
that's
oh, Mayor,
awesome.
like, I was like, Mayor, like, I'm sorry, like, and he's like, no, like, you know, keep on going, like, no, we support you, you know,
Wow.
and
Did you try out the next season?
to be honest with you, no, it's because to be honest, you know, Alvin Miguel, you know, and yeah, you could try out, right, but it's very stressful, you know. To me, I
Yeah,
feel it
it's.
very stressful.
I mean, you would have to be there a week, and then all
Mhm.
that. I mean, that's a lot to do. I mean,
And
man.
it was very stressful and they're very strict. I mean, I love it. You know, I recommend, and anybody who wants to try out, I recommend it. You know, like I said, you know, to keep your dream going. You know, you have that dream. You know, if you want to try out for a big show like that, go for it. You know, but I do want to plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something real quick. You perform for the Top Dogs, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody gets to do that. Like, it's super hard to do that. Like, it's really hard. I want to cuss, but I'm not going to. It's wow. It's super, super hard to do that. And you perform for the Top Dogs. So of course, disappointment sets in because of the things they're saying or whatever, they're saying no, whatever. But man, you can look back.
Yeah.
Like, hey, wow, I was there. Like, that's a cool story to tell, bro. Oh my
Do
god.
you still
that's
have the
amazing.
recording? Do you still have that?
Being honest with you, my friends, you know, I sure don't. You know, I didn't record it at the time. I remember it was on YouTube. You know, it was on YouTube at the time. But they took them off. They did away with them. I'm not sure why, you know, but it's no longer there. But yeah, it was a small recording. It was a small recording, you know, that I saw.
Wow.
And I was like, man, like I should have recorded it, you
Yeah.
know. But I do have pictures, you know. I have the pictures and all. You know, when they gave me the golden ticket, you know, it was like, you know, it was something that I would never forget. You know, I
Yes, the
mean,
memory. No one's gonna ever take that memory away from you, man. That's amazing.
and every
Yeah.
time I go to Austin, because I'm always, you know, sometimes, you know, we like to take our vacations and stuff. Like we're always up there in San Antonio and Austin, you know. And the first thing that pops up, American Idol. It's like, man, like it seems like yesterday when I was when we were there at the Frank Irwin Center, you know, it seems like yesterday we were there. And recently, I know for a fact American Idol, the way they're doing auditions is now virtual. I've seen it, you know. And recently, on the news, I follow the news right a lot. You know, they had an interview with one of the producers, which I do remember, you know, from American Idol, you know, to recommend everybody to come and try out. You know, they were doing them virtually, you know, and I was actually thinking about it, but you know, it's because to be honest with you, Alvin Miguel, you know, I have other plans. You know,
Yeah.
we have our plans. You know, like I said, we have my current work at the site, which I do love. You know, I love my job. You know, 4 years as well, and also, well, helping out Kelsey with her things as well. You
Yeah.
know, she also does come around. She comes first as well, to be honest,
That's awesome.
and my mom
That's
as
good. You
well.
see
You
that
know.
support system?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we got stuck in that story. I'm gonna tell you real quick. Have you watched the Elvis movie?
You talking
Don't
about,
laugh about it.
What do you think?
Don't laugh about it, man.
Why? What's going on? What's going on?
you mean you talking about the new one? The new one on Hulu?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen that one.
Go
What do you
ahead,
think?
go
What do
ahead
you
and tell
think?
them.
What's going on?
Yeah. So he's obsessed with Elvis, obviously.
Ah,
So
hey, come
I didn't
on.
notice that
Oh,
one.
in a good
man.
way, of course, in a good way.
Yes.
But we've seen the movie about what, 2 times?
Yeah, we saw it 2 times. It was supposed to be a third time, but like I said, you know, things came around. We weren't able to. But Yeah, we got to see it. The first time I went, at the mall because we saw it here at Cinemark. It's because I'm a Cinemark.
You gotta watch it the whole thing, right? The
it's a
whole
tradition, man.
Yeah, yeah,
It's,
yeah,
I love.
definitely.
I grew up with Cinemark. I love Animal Draft House. I love all kinds of movies. But it has to be because to be honest with you, I was gonna see it. I wanted to see it in San Antonio because you know how in San Antonio they have 3D
IMAX,
cinemas and
yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But then again, I was like, no, it has to be here because this is where I started.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, this is where I started. This is where my public is. Like if I see it somewhere else, it's like I'm betraying that all.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the first time we went to go see it at the mall, like I was like indecisive. I wanted to wear my white jumpsuit. But then again, I was like, no, like with everything that's happening, like I don't want the securities, to
Mhm.
to tell me no, you can't come in here like this and that or whatever. So my mom was like, no, go ahead, you go ahead and wear it.
Do it,
You
yeah.
gotta do it.
It's like
You gotta do it.
Yeah, you see it all the time. Like people wear Batman suits or whatever to the Batman movie. I'm like, yeah, you can do that.
So I went inside the mall, nervously, and I was like, man, like, come on, man. And for sure enough, I got a good response from the public,
She came in singing. She came in singing.
even from the securities, they were just there. They just stood there, like I guess they, how they report themselves like, like when somebody's coming in, keep an eye,
Yeah.
and for sure enough, and but I also have some friends from Ensenada as well that came with us as well. He was a big Elvis fan. He follows me. He's been following me since I started as well. And he's like, I want to see the movie with you all. So for sure enough, we all got to see the movie and like because everybody asked me like I remember I gotten friends of mine or fans. You would tell me like, do you recommend me to see the Elvis movie? And I would be like, are you kidding me? Like, are you serious? Like,
So you liked the movie? It was good.
It was really good, man.
Oh man,
It's because, like I told everybody, Avi Miguel, whatever questions you had, like how did Elvis pass?
Yeah.
Like why did he get into this? Like what happened? Like what happened to him? Why did he get divorced? All those questions are answered in the movie. Then the movie's gonna answer all your questions. Like I tell everybody, I recommend it. And you haven't seen it, I recommend it, man. And it's not because I'm an Elvis fan or I pay tribute to him. No, because it's his
you're a little
story.
biased, right? Just a little bit. No, I bet it's a good one. I've heard a lot of good reviews.
You need to see it if you haven't seen it. I recommend it. Because it tells his story. His real story with his manager, Colonel Tom Parker. Or what actually it's the relationship they had. Why did all this happen? Why did he get into this? Why did he get into the medicines? To the pills. And the story, the movie will tell you.
Did you ever think Elvis was alive? Like I remember as a kid, like we were always searching like Tupac, Elvis, they're alive, Ever think that?
Conspiracies.
Like it has to be around
Like a
somewhere, right?
conspiracy.
Yeah, the conspiracy of him, right? Because no one ever knew.
Yeah.
No one knew it. No one knew what happened to him.
To be honest with you, Avi Miguel, it's a very good question, and I see it all the time. I still see it to this day. Even people will tell me, no, Elvis is alive. He's over there in Hawaii. They're relaxing, and
over there in Cuba somewhere.
You never know because he wanted to tour and he never got the opportunity to tour around the world, and the movie will tell you that as well. But in reality, like there has, like they say, there's a pros and cons. Pros because it's a getaway, it's a getaway for him to relax, for him, to relax from everything, to be honest. But the cons is he loved his public, he loved his fans. I don't think he wouldn't do it. He loved to be around fans.
Yeah.
He's been wanting, to be honest, he's been wanting to go like to a local burger shop or local donut shop, to get a homemade peanut butter banana sandwich, that way he loved. But he wasn't able to because, of the public,
Yeah.
And it's understandable, and Elvis wanted, he wanted to do that, to be honest. So
I have one big question for you. Have you ever been to Graceland?
yes.
Okay, awesome. What was your experience there? What do you take me there, bro? Because like some people don't understand, like you said, the obsession for Elvis, that's like global. Like people like all over the world obsessed with him. And I'll tell you that when I went there, I was completely like amazed of how huge his impact was. So tell me, man, I bet you were like ecstatic when you were there. When did you go? What age? How was that experience, bro?
Well, to be honest with you, Avi, it's a very good question, man. I'm glad you asked. This was back in 2007. and 2000. But this was a surprise. Like I remember the time we were at the house, right? And I see my parents, getting ready. It was during my birthday. It was around my birthday. And I remember they were telling me like we're planning to go on a trip. I was like, "What trip to where?" Like I was like, right, like and they were like, "No, it's a surprise." I will never forget that moment. And for
Real
sure,
good surprise.
it was, until I suddenly I would be like, "Daddy, where we going?" During that time, like, "Where we going?" He would be like, "No, sit back and enjoy the ride." I'm like, like, okay. So for sure enough, until I found out, no, we're going to Graceland. We're going to go see Elvis. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, are you for reals? Like, are you seriously?" And he's like, and they were like, "Yeah." Like, so for sure enough, so I remember we got to Memphis. But it's a funny story, when we got to Memphis, it was because my dad kept on driving, and it's in the bud because I like to drive too right now. And for sure enough, we got there. I remember it was West Memphis. And I remember we were lost, and then I would tell my dad, I was like, "Are you sure? Like, where are we going?" So I remember we were on the freeway, right? And we see the bridge, right? But it was dark. You're talking about dark, and I was like, "Daddy," like I go help him, and like, "Are you sure you're getting the right way?" And he's like, "Yeah, like, for sure enough, I saw that we arrived at Memphis, it was Memphis, Tennessee, because West Memphis is in Arkansas, and then you have Memphis, Tennessee, right? So for sure enough, like I remember I was surprised. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, man, like we're actually here in Memphis, and I can't believe it." So answer your question for Graceland, I remember the next day, and we actually went to Graceland. They took us in the shuttles because they take you in the
Yeah.
shuttle bus.
Mhm.
And
That's how
that's
many people there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like shuttles of people coming in.
And we had our tickets, right, and during that time, I don't know, because a lot has changed. They would give you it was the iPod, or it was the 8 track, it was something, and would be telling you the story about Elvis.
Yes.
And when you go in there, it was part of the tour. They gave it a tour and all, and I was like, when I got in there and inside Graceland, I was like, "Oh man, like I can't believe it, I'm here." Like Elvis, I'm here. Like you could just imagine. To be honest, you could just imagine Elvis coming down the stairs greeting you. It's like, welcome to my home. I can already hear him.
Cause
Like,
it's house,
welcome,
man.
welcome to my home, man. And so they would give us a tour. I got to experience the living room, the kitchen, the jungle room where he would perform. When he would do
Yeah, that's cool,
record
right?
in the 70s, and for sure enough, one of the best of my tours is seeing him. The meditation garden
Yes,
where he's
yes.
buried.
That's towards the end of the tour, right?
At the end of the tour, yeah, and with him, his mom, his grandma,
All
his
there.
father,
Mhm.
and his brother, Jesse Guerin, his twin brother. And it was a moment that I will never forget. I remember I was actually, talking to him. I was telling him, "Elvis, I'm here, man. Like, my name is Luis. I'm from Laredo. I came to visit you. I'm one of your biggest fans." And for sure, and I remember, you're not gonna believe me, Alvin Miguel, but during that time, the weather was okay. It was sunny, and it was like right now, right? Sunny and rainy. And for sure enough, sprinkles started to come down. For sure enough, it started to drizzle. It started to drizzle at that time. I will never forget. Like, I was there, the gate was right there, and I was there talking to him, and for sure enough, it started drizzling, and I was like, "Man, like, you are listening to me. Like, this is gonna be, and it's a sign.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
look where I'm at now, right?" And
Wow.
so Graceland, I know nowadays I am planning to go back. I do want to go back, to be
Yeah.
honest. A lot has changed. And by the means, well, they added the Graceland, the house guest, which is the hotel. It's very nice. I recommend it. And I know for a fact they added another exhibit as well to Elvis. They added so much, and they're still adding more to it today. And so anybody, who's a big Elvis fan, who really wants to tour Graceland, I recommend it.
Yeah.
I recommend it. And
Or even one who's not, because like for example,
Mhm.
myself, I wasn't like I wasn't like familiar with Elvis and how huge of an impact he was.
Mhm.
And I came out of that place a huge fan. I was buying shirts and everything. It was just so amazing hearing his story, his life, everything, the pictures, everything that was in there. And I love music. I've always loved music. Seeing the studio there, I mean, you can still feel the
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
Everything's intact, bro. Everything's
Exactly.
intact. It's amazing.
Passing by
Yeah.
Sunset Studio, Sun Records, you know, I was passing by in Memphis where Elvis recorded his first single, "That's All Right, Mama." You know, "That's all right, Mama." You know, and that, you know, like you said, you actually feel like he's there.
Yeah.
You know, you actually feel it.
Because everyone sees you, you're out there performing, but they don't know how it started, how you began, how you're so passionate about it. Now, I know you say you're not obsessed with Elvis, but it's just more like you're paying tribute to him.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like, for example, my sister, she's a Selena impersonator,
Mhm.
and I would say, hey, you're obsessed with Selena, but she goes into details, like every little detail, and she designs her own outfits and stuff like that. And I think, okay, a little obsession is okay. It's not too bad to be obsessive about something, especially if it's something positive and then it drives you to do something greater, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
speaking of obsession, do you still have this? Do you have the same obsession with what you're doing now, like in creating?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so it's something you're
And
constantly doing and improving on and all that.
I'm basically crocheting
Yeah.
every day, like 24/7.
Wow.
But nowadays it's kind of slowed down because I'm a college student and that's my main priority right now.
Wow. What are you studying for?
Psychology.
Oh,
good,
awesome,
that's good.
awesome.
So that's been kind of the main focus for now. But of course, I still crochet now and then.
Where can they find the Instagram or Facebook, any social media platforms that you
Yeah,
have?
sadly for now, I don't have Facebook, but I have
Okay.
Instagram. It's at Kelsey's KELSEY_creations with 2 S's.
Okay.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to get the link and put it on the description as well.
Yes,
So you can go ahead and go on the boutique as well. Do you have everything on there online so they can
Uh,
purchase online?
Yes,
or-
I have my
Perfect.
Etsy. I have Depop. I know many of the younger generations are using that as well. It's
Okay.
very, I don't want to say trendy, but in style at the moment. So
Yeah,
that's
it's huge, right?
yeah,
It's
Etsy,
huge.
Depop. Yeah, I have those. And also, I do custom items for if like Laredo or in Texas per se. I do custom items.
Oh, what type of custom items?
Yeah,
Like for example, like on a football team or something like that, or
yeah,
with
basically,
with your name on it.
yeah, anything. Basically.
Oh wow. And what do you like creating? Like, what's your favorite thing to create?
My favorite thing. I really can't choose.
You love
I
all of
love
A little
doing
bit of everything.
everything, but it would have to be maybe something of cardigans. I love cardigans. Like whether it's like sunny or like
Yeah.
warm, I love them. But yeah, like my closet is full of like sweaters, cardigans, long sleeves. Like yeah, that's me per se. But yeah, my favorite thing to crochet, cardigans. Even though it takes me about like I'd say a week to do.
I was about to ask how long does it take, but it depends on what you want, right? Everything. Okay.
It depends on like what I'm making per se. Like let's say I'm making a skirt or a dress. So yeah, that usually takes me about a week. But if I'm like really passionate, I put my batteries on. I'll get it done in like 3 days, 4 days.
Damn.
Have you ever had to put like an order real quick? Like I need that tomorrow, or that, or you give some time.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
like sometimes it'll be like, yeah, I need this for a certain date, and I'll be like, sure, I got you,
Okay.
and I'll have it before that per se.
Okay.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, I always got to give yourself some time on that, right? Oh, that's amazing.
And I apologize. I wanted to go ahead and add, you know, where they can find Kelsey, Avi Miguel. Well, they can also, in case, I know she doesn't have a Facebook, you know, in case, you know, they want to place an order, you know, but they need to get in touch with her, you know, they can also get in touch with me. All right. Also, my Facebook page, Luis Elvis Salazar, you know, they can go ahead and add me or send me a message. It's open. All right. And I can go ahead and get back with Kelsey. We're always together, you know, you know, I can get, or sometimes, you know, when she's, because I know, like you said, she's studying, you know, she's at the college, you know, this and that, etc. You know, I'll go ahead and just, you know, message her, just, you know, just let me know. Like I've gotten several, you know, like I said, thanks to the public, you know, for all the support, you know, right? You know, I've gotten several friends, you know, several also fans that ask me, like, hey, like, you know, does your sister do this, does this, or can she do this, etc. Okay, and then let me get back with you. Let me get in touch with Kelsey, and for sure enough, Kelsey gives me a response, and I'll go ahead and get back to that, you know, to that person, right? But they can also reach me out, you know, they can also reach me out, and I'll go ahead and get in touch with her in case if you don't, because I know for a fact some people have Instagram, some don't. You know, it's the opposite. Some people have Facebook. You know, it's the opposite. You know,
Yeah, and that's how I found out about your boutique through his page. Yeah, he would be tagging you, and he going live on the events helps a lot as well. So that's awesome that he get the support. And yeah, social media is where it's at. I mean, that's where you're gonna make a lot of sales. Like
Yeah.
you're saying, you do a lot of online on that. And do you have plans of like opening like a storefront?
Oh yes, definitely.
Awesome, yeah.
But I wouldn't say here per se in Laredo. Maybe around. For me, I love Austin. I love Austin, the city life, the diversity. It's something that resonates with me, and that's something that I want to be in the future. So
Awesome,
yes,
yeah.
definitely, I do have plans for the future. Like maybe in a couple of years to open up my small my small shop per se.
Yeah.
But
You always got to start small, and then you build it up.
Yep.
You build up.
Definitely.
Exactly.
And I've been super grateful to be part of like the
Mm-hmm.
pop-up events that they've had here in Laredo.
Yes,
I've
that's
been
true.
at the mall, the outlets. I've been in several like I was at Casablanca once.
Mm-hmm.
I made this whole outfit. It was like I would say, what was it, 50s? For the
Yeah,
50s?
the 60s.
No,
The-
60s or 70s, like the hippie type.
Yeah.
For the hippies. And so I made this long pants, like how do I put it?
It was like a jumpsuit
Yeah,
thing, you
it's
know?
Oh, okay, like
It
the
was-
the back in the day, the ones that open up.
Yes,
Some,
yes,
yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, I made pants for those. It was like a brown, and then it had like pink, blue, and yellow at the bottom. And I made this beautiful bralette, and with like strings hanging towards the bottom. So I was like, you know what? That's the outfit that I would see like in the 70s, you know.
You
but-
can't find those. You
Yeah, you
can't. They're vintage.
No, they're
Yeah.
very vintage. It's like
very
it's
vintage.
it's like I said, you know, within time everything's changing, you know.
But people look for those. I mean,
Yeah.
big time, and they'll pay. I mean,
Mhm.
for sure. Because I know my sister does like the vintage bras. Remember you holding those in the camera?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and those are like real, like also looked for because no one does them. They don't make them anymore. The companies either went out of business or whatever. So that's might be a good niche to
Definitely,
take.
definitely. And so,
Then you got a model here.
so yeah, I made that custom outfit for the event. But I've been to many pop-up events, and I've been super grateful for the community and everyone that supported me. I'm just immensely like, there's no words to explain it per se, but all I can say is thank you, and that's like in big capital letters. Thank you.
Yeah,
Definitely
thank you for the
Yeah.
pop-up community and everything they're doing for small businesses, right?
Yes, definitely. And so
Amazing.
it's great seeing the public out again, and
Yeah.
and like especially at the mall, like it's a lot of people, and I'm just like, that's great to see people are getting out
Yes.
nowadays, and that's really great.
Before we go, I have to ask you guys one question. Do you guys show off your work at TikToks? Are y'all making little TikToks, like for example,
Like creating,
performing,
yeah.
where you're creating?
Uh-huh.
Being honest with you, that's a very good question, Miguel. I do have a TikTok account, but I'm gonna be honest, like I don't use it. I've been wanting to use it. I've been wanting to try it. You know, I know I have a video. I recorded a song in Spanish, right, with another friend of mine just to try it out, right? You know, but
Break the
I've been-
ice.
yeah,
Nice, yeah.
and but I've been wanting to do that, and I've been telling Kelsey, you know what, and we gotta do like, you know, these probably these short videos, or maybe even do like you said, you know, the TikToks, you know, just to show how it's done, you know, etc. It's in the works, you know. All I can say, it's, you know, we have more
Thought
plans
about it.
in the way. It's in it's in the talks. I mean, you know, but yes, we've been thinking about that. Definitely.
For sure.
So before we go, just
How about yourself? Are you doing any creating moments or like creating videos? Like, you know how they do the fast forward? Like, I created this product. Are you doing any of that?
All I can say is that it's a surprise.
Okay. So you're in the works.
Sorry, I gotta hit myself.
Yeah. Okay. That's for the next one.
Before we go, any motivational things that you gotta say to the viewers? You can go first, Kelsey, and then we'll get to Elvis. It could be life lessons or anything that we learned that you want to give a piece of advice.
Okay. So what I'm gonna say is that life is gonna hit you hard, of course. That's the ups and downs of lives, the tribulations. But you have to bring yourself up no matter what the situation is, no matter what's going on in your life. Always be true to yourself. Love what you do. Be there for those around you. Like, now, all I can say is that mental health is very important. Please take care of those around you. Your mental health is should be the main priority. And so all I can say is, if you're going through something, it's okay to talk to others about it. Be open about it. Talk to someone, whether you're in school or whatnot. Go to the counselor, go to your parents, go to a teacher. It's totally fine. Like, your mental health is extremely important. And if you're a student or a college student, university student, whatever it may be, or someone that's working at the moment, take care of yourself, please.
Definitely.
That's the main priority.
That is great.
That's good. That's good advice. Yes.
Elvis.
Well, my advice, you know, to everybody is to keep on following your dreams. You know, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, go out and experience it, no matter what. Don't let nothing bring you down. Never give up, no matter what. It's like what Kelsey was saying. You know, there's, you know, like if you're going through something, you know, we're always here. You know, there's always a person to talk to, whether it's my mom, you know, anybody, you know, whether it's anybody, you know, a mom, a family member, you know, we're always here. You're never alone. You know, you're never alone. But if you have a dream, if you have a goal, go out and experience it. Don't let nothing get in your way, and always be strong and always be positive. My motto was always it's always be positive no matter what. Yeah, and we all have our moments. I have my moments too. I have my moments to share to you all, right? But no matter what, I always manage to always be positive, and to keep on going, to always put a smile, because like they say, if you put a smile, the other person smiles, right?
Definitely.
And so to just to recommend it to everybody, to keep on going, to keep on following your dreams. If you have a dream, go for it. You want to be somebody, go for it. It's like I remember, I recently had I did a birthday for a little boy, and he's a mini Elvis fan, and I told him, I was like, be somebody in life, and I would tell him that, you know what, you want to be a singer, go for it, man. I got you. You know what, you want to do this, go for it. And my daddy, and he would tell me as well, and he would be like, be somebody in life. You know what, get an education, be somebody in life. And that's what I tell Kelsey as well. And my mom also tells me as well, to keep going. If you need anything, I know, like I said, we're very close. And so always be strong, be positive, and keep going. Keep following your dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, Laredo Elvis and Kelsey Creations, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
coming
much,
by.
guys.
It's amazing. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much for having us, and hopefully it's not the last time we see each other. And like I said, thank you very much to everybody. Thank you so much to my mom. Love you, and everybody. Thank you all very much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Awesome.